There's plenty of water, and it's constantly raining. Wealth is not finite. And who's going to decide how much pie one person needs? Who's going to decide who the pie glutton is? Who was it? Joe, who was it that said fat man and skinny man? And the elites look at the skinny man and think that the fat man made him that way, stole his food. To my knowledge, Michelle Obama has never even questioned, or has never been questioned about that comment. Or let me ask you this. Since when do most Americans feel blessed to thrive just a little bit, but that's out of their reach? What? Why is thriving just a little bit out of reach for any American? There are problems. Not everyone will make it. Not everyone can make pie. Some people need help. That's where charity comes in. But the vast majority of us, get off your ass and bake some pie. You know, and it leads you to something else. It leads you to self-esteem. Your first pie might stink, and you may never really be good at it. But you know what? Which camera? Admit this one? Let me show you a picture of my father. You have the picture of my dad? Okay, here's my dad. This is my dad in the bakery where I was growing up. He was really good. He taught me to love what you do. Doesn't matter about money. Just love what you do. And I do. Not every day, but he didn't either. My dad was poor. My dad was poor. He didn't make a lot of money. We had a hard time keeping the doors of the bakery open, but he was really good at what he did, and he loved it. He never asked anybody for their piece of the pie. He would have never accepted it. How many times did my father or my grandfather teach me, no. Work for it. I'm guessing your parents were the same. And if you're an able-bodied American, there is no reason to sit around and expect others to bail you out by handing you, by you having someone else take their piece of pie. Now, there are a lot of people that, if you have pie, there are a lot of people that are suffering. It is equally important that you understand that you have to take a piece of your pie and give it to somebody to help them. Look at that as an investment in people. You invest in people. That's what charity is, an investment in the future and people. It is important. If you don't do it, then the government must. But let's all remember, this is America, the land of opportunity, the land where being blessed to thrive happens every single day. To those with the attitude who understand what the free market system is, that life isn't fair all the time. We just watched The Count of Monte Cristo. I was in Driggs, Idaho at this great little, it's a drive-in movie theater called the Spud Drive-In. And we watched The Count of Monte Cristo. And it was great. And the line in it was, God will give me justice. God gives justice. Not government. This is how America became the greatest, most productive, most prosperous nation in world history. And I'm not ashamed of it, because we're the ones that changed the world. Do you know how many people are alive today on the planet because of what America did and what America has done and the technology and the ideas? You can hate the rich all you want, but do you know how much the world has changed because of people like Bill Gates? Or a good friend of mine, John Huntsman Sr. Here's a guy who grew up in a house with cardboard walls. He had one shirt. He went to start a chemical company because he could do it. He could dream it, and he did it. You know what he created? The egg carton. I didn't even know. When I heard that, I didn't even know that this had, doesn't this seem like it's self-evident, like it always was around? He created it. He created styrofoam cups and plastic forks and spoons. He has parts on your car, a Big Mac container, all of these things. If you are living today, most likely you have something in your home. Paint is from John Huntsman. Now he employs tens of thousands of people all around the world. He's made billions. Well, is he evil? Or do you want to carry them around in a bowl? Now, what can he do with his money? Well, it's up to him. It's his money. He's the one who came up with it. Well, he's decided to give it all to charity. He's decided to give it to charity. Why? Because he chooses to. Because he knows that's the right thing. He wants to die broke the way he came in. You can't take it with you. Well, that's what the wealthy in our country do that get it. They work hard for their families. They employ people. They're not slaughtering baby seals and polar bears and starving crippled children or fashioning orcs in their basement for Halliburton, preparing some kind of slimy evil army to rape and pillage the poor and of unsuspecting villagers. But have you ever heard the president say that? The First Lady, Robert Gibbs, anyone in the White House praise the wealthy for their contributions to charity. It was this guy that built the first private hospital. First public place where people could go. Him. Back in a minute. We're covering a lot of ground and pie tonight, so set your DVR. This is information and recipes that you don't want to miss. All right. I explained a few minutes ago that many in our government believe that wealth is like a single pie. There is only one pie, and the United States has too big of a piece of that pie, and they feel guilty about our gluttonous piece of pie, so they're willing to voluntarily reduce it. Right now, at the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, America is being set up to fail globally. I told you this was going to happen about a year ago, and here we are, gang. They want to reduce our share of the pie. As we've mentioned on the show before, we contribute by far the most of any other nation to the IMF. Do we have this up on a chart, or do you want me to draw? Oh, here it is. The United States gives 17%. China, for perspective, gives, 3.7? Great Britain, 5. Germany's quota is 6%. Well, hang on just a second. Why are we doing that? Well, here's the good news. Because we contribute so much, our vote is weighted, to kind of balance off what we pay 17% of the bill, so we should get 17% of the vote. That gives the United States veto power over measures that are not in our best interest. Well, that's not fair. There's a proposal being considered now to redistribute power at the IMF as they take 17% and redistribute our wealth as well. They want to take that power away from the industrial countries, like ours, to the emerging nations, which would not be good, because it will mean that we lose our voting power, or at least our veto ability. Now, can you imagine global financial decisions being made which will be locked into by the rest of the nations on Earth, and we have no power to stop them? Has there ever been a time in the history of the planet where Europe, China, Russia, anybody has acted in our best interest? No. We're all supposed to act with our own interest, and then also say, well, is this right for them as well? You think the rest of the world is going to be benevolent to the United States? You know what it is? It's like going out with a group of people for dinner, and you're going to pay the most. You're going to pay for most of the dinner. But there's one guy there who just hates you, and he's not really even contributing to the dinner bill. And all of a sudden, everybody says, you know what? Bob over here, who hates you, and you're paying most of the bill, he gets to say where we're going for dinner. I don't think so. And then when you get to the restaurant, he gets to tell you what you're ordering as well. I got news for you, rest of the world. If we're paying most of the bill, we should have the biggest share of say. If somebody else is paying the bill, or if everybody's sharing it equally, well then, okay, then it's an equal vote. And if you don't like it, sucks to be you. I mean, me, personally, I'd stop going to the restaurant. But somehow or another, I don't know why, that's unreasonable. If the goal is to reduce our piece of the pie, this will accomplish it. And then at the same time, the IMF has also issued a frightening report with the International Labor Union Organization. Oh, they're not socialist at all. that says that America and Europe face the worst jobs crisis since the 1930s and risk an explosion of social unrest unless they tread carefully. Now, that's not the fear-mongering Glenn Beck saying that. That's the IMF. Although, for years, I've been telling you that the perfect storm has been gathering on the horizon and what could happen if that storm hits, especially if you added two elements, hunger and fear. Well, Greece has already given us a glimpse of what may be on the horizon here. It's coming, gang. But what is it that the IMF is so worried about? Well, according to the IMF, and see if anybody in the audience remembers this name, the IMF chief, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, quote, "The labor markets are in a dire strait. The Great Recession has left behind a wasteland of unemployment." He says that a double-dip recession remains unlikely, but stressed that the world has not yet escaped a deeper social crisis. He called it a grave error to think that the West, i.e. us, was safe again after teetering so close to the abyss last year. "We're not safe," he said. And in a totally unrelated note, Strauss-Kahn is a French socialist. I'm glad that we have the socialist at the IMF getting together with the labor unions to try to tell us what to do. His organization added, the most advanced economies should not tighten their fiscal policies before 2011 because tightening sooner could undermine the recovery. Oh, thanks, Dominique. Oh, thank you. Good suggestion. We'll just keep spending until we spend our way out of this economic crisis. I know that works at my house all the time. Good job. No, good job. And good job creation method. Oh, it is. We can see how well it works so far. Right here in the U.S., unemployment now hovering near 10%. Global unemployment has reached 210 million people. And we don't really even know how many people are unemployed in places like China. The IMF report states the Great Recession has left gaping wounds. High and long-lasting unemployment represents a risk to the stability of existing democracies. Okay, so now I guess we're not a democracy, but we're lumped in there with the warning. So given the fact that more and more economists have warned about the fragility of our situation, some sounding more apocalyptic than me, isn't it time to wake people up in America and say, got to start baking pies? You've got to take it on yourself and start creating new jobs. You've got to forget about the government. We got to get government out of the kitchen. Wake up, America, because it's coming.
Could you survive just one day without government assistance? Glenn doesn't think so. Next.